the amount of joy that this piece brings.
The man lived across the road. He worked for the railroad, and he handmade these saws.
Going to Jeff Ross' studio today. We're super stoked. Volcano Art Center goes on a field trip. Woo woo!
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh,
It's so nice to do this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a quick walk around the yard before we sit down in the shop?
yeah.
Get the whole Cook's tour. But while I was a substitute teacher, I did a lot of in tech, wood shop and metal shop, and I acquired a lot of stuff that just got dumped in the shop. So like somebody left.
Whoa.
This
Is it a little
in the shop.
bath?
It's a Furo, yeah, it's a
Oh
real.
my
It was made
God.
locally, and we've been using it. I was able to
Wow.
repair it. It had come in because it needed a new bottom. So
This is so
all of this,
awesome.
all these anthuriums and.
Wow.
I know the
Wow.
butterflies love this tree. They come and they stay all day on that tree.
I love it.
And this was just all lawn, so everything you see except for the avocado tree.
Oh,
We
wow.
saved that, but like we planted.
Oh, it's
the-
loaded.
Yeah, they're so good too. It was Mr. Ava lived here, and he said, "Oh, that was the better of the avocado trees."
Wow.
But like we planted, this is that native Lo'ulu palm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, whoa, it's huge. I never seen a giant one like that.
I started them from seeds. One of my first jobs was cutting grass for daily.
Wow.
I picked up seeds by the old post office downtown. Everything down this way.
Where'd you get this shop building? What building is this? It looks like an old
I
farm
built it
building.
from
Did you
scratch.
build it?
After
It
we
looks
moved
like a rustic kind of farmhouse. I like it.
It blends in with the neighbors. It went in with the neighbors. Yeah, after we moved in, we had to do the outdoor shower because the bathroom inside was rotten. So the first project was the outdoor shower. Then we did the bathroom inside. Then I built a shop. And a lot of it came from the dump because back in the day, you could drive into the back of the dump. They didn't have the fence.
Yeah.
So I would go to the dump early in the morning, like 5:30 in the morning, when the contractors were unloading, because it wasn't locked. So the contractors would come before work and unload from the night before, and there would be metal
And you got all those scraps for free?
a lot of it. I had to buy
Nice.
a little bit to finish up, so
Right.
I was very fortunate.
What is this? Metal?
Oh, it's an old walk.
Oh, what? No way.
Yes, it's like the biggest walk in the world.
That's huge.
It was from when they built the railroad that went up the Hamakua coast.
Yeah.
We lived up the coast for a while on the cliff, and we used to go down on the railroad track and explore, and we found it down on the railroad track, and the bottom was already cracked. It was already not in any use, but we used a rope and hauled it up the cliffs
Wow.
and hit it at our house, and then we brought it here.
And now it's yard art.
I know.
I love it.
Finally is coming apart.
Oh,
But
but still very cool.
could you imagine how much they cooked in it? It was a walk.
That was probably for a bunch of different people.
Yeah, a whole railroad crew.
Whole
maybe,
railroad
the whole
crew.
Who knows?
Wow.
My neighbor makes these whirligigs. If you look down there.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
just retired and started making them. So he gave me a couple. I was like, I gotta do something. So I have those giant windmills in the gorge. When I came home, I was like, oh, I gotta make one of those.
Did you do that giant chair back there?
Yes.
What?
Yes. That's koa and monkey paw.
Oh my god.
This is two Kamani stumps.
Whoa.
And it's carved pretty much all over.
Whoa.
Can you see that?
Yeah. So how long would it have taken you to make something that big?
Well, this, it had to do with just drying out because I carved it green. And then I
you
had
carved
to
it
let
green.
it dry and then recarve it again because iron is as hard as a rock.
Oh,
Especially
okay.
when it's dry. So it was around, I guess it was around for about a year and a half before it was done. Like, I'll show you some stuff that I've gone back and redone
Okay.
after it dried out, you know, so.
And then you're also making the cordage yourself too, right?
Yeah, so this is a Milo bowl.
Whoa.
It's like a haku
Oh.
style.
Yeah. And then you have some butterflies in
Yeah,
there.
it's totally butterflied and pegged because it's I try to make things look old.
What wood you said is this?
Milo.
Milo. Wow.
I built some canoes and I wanted a space. right
Some
that I-
6-man.
No, nothing that. Well, you know, we had some bigger ones. I worked with a couple of guys. The ones I built were like 2 and 3 people.
Okay.
12 feet, 12 and a half, 15.
That's so cool.
So I needed a space that was like specific to working on stuff like that.
Right.
So that was how I ended up with this. I like,
Wow.
talk about back in the day when my wife and I bought the house.
Yeah.
I just did a plan. My wife didn't want to get involved because, like I said, she's an architect.
Yeah.
So she said, you're going to have to do your own plan. So I drew a plan on a piece of graph paper. And I went to the planning department, and the guy said, oh, you got to do this. He had like a red pen in his pocket. So he actually helped me, and I got a permit, but I don't have electricity or plumbing.
Okay.
It's just
structure.
Yeah, structure.
Yeah.
So I've been in this shop space for almost 30 years. I had acquired scrap wood that went almost out to where my wife is. I couldn't even put my truck in. There was so much stuff. And I made a commitment to use it all and do stuff with it. A lot of it came from other woodworkers that had retired. It was other people's scraps that I had acquired. So like that's why I ended up doing this. So I said, they were all kind of small pieces, and I was like, okay, I settled on the clubs, those sticks, the digging sticks, things that would be really easy to do, the talking sticks. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna do this as a series. Look, I just recarved this. Do you see this?
Yeah, I'm staring at it, and I was like, there's no way you did that already.
That's what I was doing.
That's crazy.
So a plug on the back, right? So I could put this rope on it and hang it up in the rafters when it's not being used.
Could you kind of pull out the tool that you used to do this, just so I can kind of see?
Okay, yeah, sure. That would be. I would gladly. Okay, so here, like I mostly work by hand. Here, people say that. So I have chisels and gouges that I use, and then I have planes, hand planes that I use. Then all what's in here is like iron, like adzes and axes, all the and like all of these tools people have given me. Like even this vise, this is like some really old vise from Ohio. There was a woman that worked at the Volcano Art Center, Tur.
Yeah.
You know Tur?
I know of her.
Okay, she was like famous, and she was really nice to all the artists. And she gave me, when she passed away, she left a whole bunch of tools for me. I had no idea this was going to happen. She had all these Japanese hand saws that she left for me that I could never afford or would never have bought.
Wow.
Just different, they're all, just the nicest. Looking at a whole box of these saws.
The beautiful cover, the blue cover on it. Oh my
It's
god.
the samurai.
Wow.
He has his own little robe. And they're so sharp, you can't believe it. This is, where she passed away like at least 10 years ago, probably more than that.
Wow.
And I use these things all the time. These were handmade. The man lived across the road. He worked for the railroad. And he handmade these saws. Boxes of saws and hand planes.
So what would you say if you didn't have all these people giving you these tools? What would this place look like without it? Would it be much smaller? Like, it just sounds to me like you're really putting a lot of attention into the fact that like a lot of these things were given to you. And is that something that's like special and meaningful?
It does. It pushes me forward to keep working. I don't know if you heard. I don't use sandpaper, so this is what I use. That's all these different grits.
You don't use sandpaper.
No.
You use rocks.
I just use these stones. Yeah, it's real traditional. It's an easy and water. Rocks with water.
Rocks with water.
Yeah, and I have all these different ones. They're just like different grits of stone here.
Wow.
Gathered up. Look, this is like one of the main ones. Okay, look, this is split. It's two different colors, and then it's totally two different grits. This is way rougher. Feel this how heavy it is, though. It's really good stuff. It's like
Wow.
Yeah, and then these are the main.
So you're just holding it with your hand and you're just rubbing it and water and you're rubbing it on the wood.
Right, and then so like I can work straight from adze work, which is pretty rough. Adze work straight to the stone and water, and then I could go to a chisel and finish it. Okay, these stones are the real finishing stones that I have. So
Oh, it's green.
yeah, this is from Alaska. That's that Alaskan jade.
Whoa.
And then this, someone gave me that. This one I bought from a rock hound. It's also Alaskan jade. This is, these were called lava bomb. Upland is south.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's 4 hours from Kansas City.
I have family in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But no one left in St. Louis, so I moved out. But I used to go out with my friends, and we would dig in Indian caves. And so I've been doing this for a long time. So I have all these stones that I can use for finishing, like I used this one to do all of this, right?
Wow,
And
really?
and then I put a coat of kukui nut oil on it
Okay.
to lubricate it for the stonework, right? Because you can't do it dry; it doesn't really work. So I oiled it with the kukui nut oil. Then I did the stonework, and then it's got beeswax on it. I got this mix that I made of
So just fits
beeswax
right
and
perfectly.
kukui nut oil, and I
Oh.
like boil it in this little pot, and then that's
you
what
rub
I use
it?
for my finish, which
Okay.
is like butcher's wax. Is what we do. So.
Wow.
So this pattern is a lot like Christina's table. It's not the same. The pattern that she had and the pattern she showed me was made of rope. It was like an old thing that sailors used to do when they were bored, and they would take small pieces of rope and make patterns out of little pieces of rope. And she had I probably got a picture of this somewhere. With all that. Anyways, this is what I'm doing now. These were all the scraps from all those years and making sure I had all these scraps and weird pieces of wood. And then I had pieces of glass that I had picked up. I wasn't even doing anything with them. My wife gave me some samples and some jalousies, and then I had broken Chinese furniture, a whole box of broken Chinese furniture pieces someone gave me. So I was like trying to work this whole thing out. So each one of these is like a display case for some artifact. So this one has this underwater camera set up.
Wow.
Okay, so it's hard to appreciate it at the time, but I come out here, I'm like a night kind of person. So
Whoa.
I'm sitting out here at night. This is probably the most finished one because it has these tiles. I inset these tiles on the inside.
Right.
And then I carved these panels on this one. None of the other ones are carved like this. This one has this, I'm doing this Hawaiian sovereignty thing, 1893. That was the year of the overthrow.
Right.
And then, so that's this one.
Wow.
Then this one here has, so I'm like calling them like artifact prototypes. Because
Okay.
they're like, it's like a display case for an artifact.
Okay. So it could be
what's-
anything in there, but you chose to do the.
Yeah, okay, so like this is like things that have just come my way over time. Like an oscilloscope, like in the hospital where they check your pulse. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is an old oscilloscope.
Whoa.
And then I put these other lights on top of it. This opens up, you can see the actual oscilloscope part, and you can actually play with it and then make adjustments on the screen. So I can just roll them around and get out different.
I like that they're on wheels.
I just had to think of a way to do it. So this one has this drum inside. I put this old camera lens on top inside this drum seat, and then this just fits on top. And then you can't see now, but it's like a
It like
a
lights up
theater
this.
light. It's
Yeah.
like a theater light. It makes a real tight beam on top. And this is like the kind of stuff I was thinking about when I was in art school. But then I got off track and started doing other things. And like, I really enjoyed all the work I did in the Polynesian Curiosity thing, but I just wanted to get back and do some of this. Remember that guy Dan Flavin, the artist, New York artist? He made these fluorescent fixtures. This is actually, okay, he used to do this art with fluorescent fixtures. And I went to see his show, and I was a senior in high school, and I was like, how can that be art? And I got so excited. And when I went to art school, nobody was doing anything like that at all.
Okay.
And so I ended up being a ceramics major because there was just nothing like that to do. I jacked it out the back door.
Ooh.
So I've had it for.
So
like
your
30
friend
years.
sent you this whole thing?
No,
or no,
the
he
Dan
sent you
Flavin
just
light. Yeah, he sent me
just the
Dan
light,
Flavin.
and then you built the case for
Okay,
it.
so that was actually the first one. I was like, I gotta make a case to
Wow.
protect. The thing's worth like 10 grand. I mean, it's an actual Dan Flavin thing.
Whoa.
So I made this case, and it says Dan Flavin on the other side,
Okay.
right here, so you can see.
Wow.
And okay, my friend Ian.
That's sick. I like this.
I know. Okay, I was just gonna say. So my friend Ian, he's in New York City, and he ended up doing like interior. He worked on Balthazar's restaurant, this real famous restaurant in New York City. All that time, I kept wanting to do this, and I was Like I said, these are just things I wanted to try. So like this comes out of the Whirligig thing. I started making, how could I do these propellers and maybe make them be precious?
Like the amount of joy that this piece brings.
At night it looks so cool.
Yeah, I bet.
And this is like how the wind sculpts wood. Like this log was. I'm just speaking to you honestly. Now that I put it together, but I had to put it together just to see it and see what I could do and what would work.
Right.
And it's a prototype. They're all prototypes. So this is them out on the bay. He's got his.
Oh.
This is them. This is like. Yeah, just mostly boats. Because I'm obsessed with like boats. It's like one of those Japanese style ones where that has that tsunami look, and then I gold leaf.
Yeah, gold leaf.
What a great tour, such eclectic style, and seeing the personalities of these different artists and their homes and their studios. And a big thank you to Jeff and his wife Taylor for inviting us in to check everything out. And another thank you to Shelby, our gallery manager, for guiding us through and speaking with Jeff about his work. And Jeff uses only hand power tools. He says, quote, "That way I am forced to slow down and look closely at each piece of wood. I am challenged by an assortment of odd driftwood pieces or rotten discarded lumber to pull the different elements together into a functional whole." And he does so with beauty. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Aloha.